really spent a lot of time talking to people. One really cool meeting I'll call out was the one in the upper left-hand corner. We did a bike build with Wish for Wheels. This was actually 1.5 put this on, and every year they donated bikes in the Kingsville, Texas community to local second graders. So you would drive it if you drive into Kingsville, you'll see at like the local elementary school bikes that have 1.5 on them. And this was part of their climate goals. They wanted more people to bike instead of use cars because they're trying to reduce emissions. But also, this was a team building exercise and a way for them to build stronger relationships in the community by giving back. With energy, there's always a trade-off, like I've mentioned. So often, energy companies will look for ways to kind of offset that trade-off of, okay, we're using land for this energy production. What can we give back? So going to the next slide, a little bit more on what I'm doing now with One Energy. So continuing the work of going out and talking to folks in communities, often that looks like dispelling misinformation. So a lot of people can come across a lot of interesting things on the internet. So we really work with them to try to understand what their concerns are, help meet them where they are. And I feel like you hear community engagement people say that a lot. I kind of hate that phrase, but meet them where they are kind of means listening. Like that translates to active listening. Why do they believe what they believe? Why are their concerns? Where do their concerns come from? Often they come from an emotional place, fear of change, fear, attachment to place. That's the farm that they grew up taking their kids to. The fact that there's solar on it feels really jarring and different, and they have concerns about it. Are there health concerns? Maybe they're worried about like just my kids live here and I want to keep them healthy and safe. And those are all very valid concerns. And a lot of my job is to kind of parse through some of the misinformation to get to the emotional foundations of why people are concerned and then try to address those or work to build trust in relationships so that they know that we're not trying to cause harm. We're coming to just try to help actually improve their energy resilience and reliability. Often these projects are small, like Sarah said, and so they really go to power the local distribution system or the local grid. That can help in the case of an emergency. That can help if there's if there's parts of the grid go down that offers a little bit more local resilience. So there are local benefits to a lot of our projects. That can really help communities. And additionally, there's this beautiful symbiotic relationship with farmers. I have a lot of family members who are farmers, own farms and ranch land, and it's not a very lucrative business right now. In fact, it's really hard to keep that operation going. So often things like solar, historically it's been oil and gas, but things like solar can provide a way for farmers to keep farming on that land because they get the income from the lease payments for solar. So we try to kind of help communities understand that we're not taking farmland away. We're trying to help farmers who need a little bit of extra income in a difficult economy right now. So yeah, we have community meetings all over. Also, the top upper right two photos are from two county fairs we went to. So we'll also go out into places where we have multiple projects, regions where we have multiple projects, and table at county fairs, just talk about what we do, help educate people on solar and battery storage and the work we do, hand out stickers, yeah,
Dress up
share
like
this
porn.
information. Yes, this is Cecilia, who is one of our community engagement interns. This was at the Almsville Corn Fest earlier this year in Oregon. And yeah, she's out talking about, unfortunately, corn cannot grow under solar panels because it gets too tall. It'll shade the panels. Um, but we do often work with farmers who have corn on nearby pastures next to the solar panels. So we'll talk about
Is
that.
this a reason to or to not be an intern at One Energy?
I know, right? You get to wear a corn costume and go out and talk to people. It's pretty
The
fun.
selling point.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. And we do actually have a community engagement internship open right now in our DC office, which is in your neck of the woods, Remy. So I'll make sure you have that information and can share it.
That
if
would
you
be
have
great.
any.
Alina's also in that neck of the woods. I don't know if
Awesome.
any
Yeah,
of
we
your
have.
fellows at John Hopkins might be interested in something like that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'll make sure I'll put the after I finish which I think this is my last slide. I'll put that information in the chat for folks. But yeah, and then these bottom two photo, well the photo on the left and then the low kind of center left. That one is from community meetings in Wisconsin that we've had recently for projects there. Just local neighbors coming out to learn more about the project, express concerns, ask questions. And then the one in the lower right is from a community meeting in Chicago. We had it at a local park down the road from the project. I
It's
think that's my
fantastic.
last slide, Sarah. So yeah, I'll kind of stop there and always, yeah, ask us anything. I think one of the things that Sarah and I were excited about to talk to you all today is just that we have very different jobs in renewable industry. We are not the PV engineers and the developers. We get to do something totally kind of really different and cool and ancillary, but still very important in the renewable energy development space. So, yeah, happy to answer questions, chat about career stuff, whatever y'all want to know more about.
Well, I'll open it up first to any of the students that we have, but I have always have questions, so I will always chime in with questions. But um,
Awesome.
I know Evan joined us a little late, and so did Baloo. So I don't know if either of you or any of you have questions or would just like to introduce yourself and say hi.
Hi, my name is Evan Barker. I'm studying energy and sustainability policy at Penn State. And sorry I was a few minutes late, but I thought both of your presentations were really good. And I've been very interested in the renewables industry and specifically like agrivoltaics. So I thought a lot of this was really fascinating, kind of seeing a lot of this being put into practice.
Awesome. Great to meet you.
Hello, hi, my name is Bolu, and I'm studying international studies here at Old Dominion University at Virginia, and I'm working on solar energy in developing countries. So I'm looking at the different aspects. So I actually came in late, and I had to attend to some things in between, so I might have missed some information. Sorry about that, but hearing the last part of your presentation was really interesting to know how you've been able to like work with farmers and the use of the land, which is actually very informative with what I'm working on. So thank you very much for your presentation.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so interesting. Cool.
And
Thank
no
you.
worries on joining late. We did record, maybe it's in two separate recordings now. I'll have to figure that out later, but we did record everything. So if you didn't catch the beginning of it, we'll send you out a link and you can watch the early parts. Um, but I have a question for you, Sarah. One of the things that I've heard a lot about is, I mean, you covered a lot of great eco-voltaics and agrivoltaics practices. I've heard a little bit more about even um, cattle grazing. Have you had any experience with grazing of other animals aside from sheep?
We have been talking to some cattle farmers, particularly one near one of our Wisconsin projects, and he has some creative ideas for how we can have the cattle around the panels without them damaging them by being very strategic with the placement of electric wiring. So that's something that we're currently, I just got a quote to maybe make some modifications to more of a standard project site. So it's something that's not, we haven't done it yet, but we're excited to hopefully try it out soon or could keep exploring how we could make it work. A lot of the times our panels, when they're tilting like at full tilt, the beginning and end of the day, they're about 3 feet above ground, which is great for sheep. They can walk right under. Sometimes they scratch their backs a little bit on the middle edge, but they're pretty small. So people definitely have more concerns with cattle. So, but there's some really cool innovations. There's something called Cattle Tracker that we'll make the panels go into the stowed flat position as the cattle are walking through different areas of the site. So maybe we can try that in the future. That's something that's kind of recently announced, but yeah, that's because we're the dairy state in Wisconsin and sheep grazing has connected with a lot of people, but I think cattle grazing would really open a lot of people's minds to continuing to consider the solar farmland. So hopefully.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then Claire, maybe if you want to talk a little bit about one of, I know that we've talked a bit about one of the things that One Energy does to help communities in which they're working with is the potential for donating panels to schools. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that program?
Sure, I might actually pass that question to Sarah because I'm newer to the program and Sarah's actually worked with most of the schools to do the panel donations. So I'll let Sarah talk about it. I'm going to pass that to you.
Okay.
Sure, yeah. So for all of the projects that we build, we offer a donation of solar panels to a local school. We'll reach out to a couple of schools if the first isn't interested, but we offer a donation of either 10 or 20 solar panels and then a cash donation to help cover installation costs. So yeah, we're trying to link schools with educational opportunities as well. Like in Wisconsin, there's the K-12 energy education program. So a lot of this is kind of like the resources that we share with the school, and then it's up to them which installer they work with to, set up and design where the array is going to go. But we'll guide them as far as sharing some recommended local installers, and then we'll deliver the panels to them, give that cash donation. But yeah, so we have some interest in getting students more involved in that project if we make these donations and partnerships with college students, could they then um, help do the donation and learn about the installation process. So we're kind of looking at ways to expand it, but it's been really cool. We follow up with the ribbon cutting ceremony and get to meet the students and talk to them a little bit about what we do. And they're usually ground mounted next to the school building, so the students can actually get up close to the panels and see them. So it's a good way to learn about them, and they can see how much the panels are producing and tie that into math lessons or learn about the weather and check the differences on a cloudy and sunny day. So yeah, that's something we've been doing for the past few years. That's been really fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. I'm gonna give one last chance for any of the students that might have one last question, and then I have one wrap-up question for you guys. Okay. Well, with that, I'm first of all just want to say thank you guys for spending your afternoon with us. This was really a very interesting presentation. It's great to hear about these jobs that are a little bit different than what maybe we are usually used to hearing about within the renewable energy industry. The one thing I would love to ask each of you is maybe anything that these students could be doing to help in this community engagement space as young voices, as community members, as educated college students studying renewable energy. Is there anything that they could do to help when you're in a community?
Absolutely. I love this question. So often we find for every project we do, we have to get a local permit. Well, sometimes that permit comes from the state in certain states. Local solar coding and it's all a mess. But long story short, we have to get a permit whenever we are building a project. And often that permit requires a permit hearing. And that's often where we face the most local opposition. That's the chance for local community members to come out and speak out against the project. And unfortunately, what we often see is mostly opposition voices at those meetings. It's much easier to go out when you're passionate about stopping something than when you're passionate about seeing something happen. And so I would say that one thing we've started seeing and we'd love to kind of see more of is if you are passionate and there is a local solar project in your community, come out to the public meeting. They're usually weekday nights. They're after work hours. They're also just a great way, like, to get involved with your community and meet people. But come out and speak if you see that a solar project near you is on the docket. Come and talk about why you care about solar and why you think we should see more of it. Because we often get people who are pro solar, but maybe they just don't want it there, or maybe um, yeah, there's a lot of like local NIMBYism bubbling up and just other different issues. And one of the best ways we can get solar across the finish line and actually make this happen is if we can get these permits. And so if you see a project that you feel like, oh, this is sited well, this is great, I like solar, come and speak in favor of it. And that's something that you can do on a weekday night that can make a real difference in actually getting these projects implemented on the ground. And I'm not saying like do your research, make sure this is a project you really support. I will say that not all solar projects and not all energy projects are created equal. There are solar projects that are, I wouldn't have a job if every solar company was doing a great job of community engagement. Like I exist here because the renewable industry and the energy industry historically has not been great at this, and we have an entire field of energy and environmental justice for a reason. So I would say do your research, make sure these are projects that you do feel like you want to support and can support. And also, if you feel like, oh, I like this project, but why are they doing gravel instead of native prairie? You can come out and say that in the public meeting, and that can be documented in the public comments. So that's a great way to get involved at the local level with making these projects happen in your local community. So,
Amazing.
call to
And
action.
if you don't mind, can I share one last slide? If
Yeah,
you don't mind
go for
passing
it.
over
Yes,
the helm to me.
of course.
Okay. So with that, I appreciate that segue. I will also remind everyone on the call that this is our last call of the school year. We have a number of amazing sponsors that make the webinar series possible and all the other programs. So thank you to our sponsors. And then a quick teaser for our first webinar of the next academic year or the next semester will be January 15th. Some of you may not be back at school yet, but that might be a good thing. But we'll be hearing from Tyler Gleason, who works with EDP Renewables in the distributed generation and interconnection space. So he's going to be a fantastic person. If you were at REpS with us this year, he was one of our meet and greets, so you'll get to reconnect with Tyler. But last and not least, I will remind you in the announcements at the beginning, I did mention that in the summer next year, we are going to be doing a short course on solar siting challenges in Virginia. So everything that Sarah and Claire talked about, all these tools that they have at their ready, are ways that we are trying to do a better job of overcoming the challenges for siting solar, specifically here in Virginia. And the reason I wanted to bring this back to your attention is because the focus of this class is not just to talk about the challenges, but it is to give you the tools to be able to make change. So by the end of this, we're going to learn about how do I go to a public hearing and how do I practice presenting? How do I write an op-ed to my local newspaper if I really feel strongly about solar in my community? Depending on where we host this, we may even go to DC and do some lobbying. Like, I don't really know what we're going to do quite yet. We're going to work on that. But it's going to be an amazing opportunity for students. You just have to be in Virginia for the summer. You don't necessarily have to be a Virginia student, I guess, but you have to be in the Virginia for the summer because there will be some in-person requirements for the course. So with that, I will say thank you once again to Sarah and Claire. Oh, wait, we have a question. Yay, Amari, good to see you.
Yeah, hello. I think, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I think I joined you late. It is almost 11 p.m. here in Ethiopia, in East Africa. I think I catch up with Claire's presentation. It was a good one. I think community energy is one of my research topic. I am from Addis Ababa University. I'm a full-time lecturer and also PhD student. And community energy, when last time when I was in on the solar conference. So we have actually visited some solar communities, and also I have a chance to engage with the community. And when we say community energy now, it is a good, I mean, a new concept with respect to, especially for rural African population. We are planning to do it. We are planning to actually integrate this community part for community owned, community operated, and also community decisive types of grid for electrification. I'm not sure. I think you are going to be surprised that one of the community which I have presented my paper almost like less than 50 kilowatt of mini hydropower plant can electrify about 100 households in the rural community. 50 kilowatt is like a load for a stove or something on the developed country, but it can communicate. It can actually give this type of light. Now, what I've actually see that now, photo agriculture, it is photo agriculture is, I mean, is one of the good opportunity when we are not using the for grazing and also for vegetation cultivation. So this is what is the very interesting part, which is not practiced in Africa, as far as I know, which will be a good potential, especially on the rural areas because of that one. So this is what I have actually catch up with Remy's continuous lectures and also webinars. I'm happy for that one. And also nice to meet you all. Hopefully see you in January for the next webinar. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you,
for
Mari.
sharing. Thanks for having us, and feel free to share my email address as well if people have other agrivoltaics or ecovoltaics questions.
Awesome. And it sounded like you were also going to share an internship opportunity with us, and I'll be happy to send that along to the network along with the link to the recording or recordings of this presentation, depending on what I find out afterwards. So with that, I'll say thank you again, and I hope that you all have a fantastic holiday, and I will look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yeah, thanks, Remy. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, I put the internship and our careers page in the chat. So
Perfect.
that's right there. Awesome. Thanks so much. Have a good day.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.